From the moment that EJA was founded, its mission has also been to bring together the most dedicated professionals in advocacy, media, policy, and law.
The European Jewish Association fills an essential role, working in conjunction with European institutions, the Parliament, and regional and national parliaments, combating anti-Semitism in all its forms, empowering Jewish communities, and strengthening Jewish life all across the continent.
Where anti-Semitism in all its forms is confronted meaningfully and decisively, and where, when needed, real support is provided, including security and communal assistance, and where Israel is treated fairly. It means bringing communities together, from the biggest to the smallest, creating bonds, sharing best practices, and being part of something bigger than themselves, connecting and strengthening communities across the continent. We offer real support, real solutions, and real opportunities to shape the Jewish future, working with key decision makers and policymakers at national and EU level. Our work is recognised by senior politicians, diplomats, and key stakeholders. Because it is driven solely by the needs of Jewish communities, down to each individual Jew on their journey through life. We engage with leaders across Europe, and through initiatives such as educational delegations, the EJA helps shape policies that make society better and safer for all of us.
This is a challenging time, but our communities are strong, resilient, and refuse to be beaten. The EJA brings out the best in the Jewish people. Our mission is to ensure the Jewish people in Europe can live in security with full freedom of religion, and to be proud and confident continuing our mission in life to bring light.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call onto the stage the very man who made this possible. He is the visionary and the chairman of the EJA, who continues to work tirelessly for the well-being of our people, Rabbi Menachem Algoli.
Distinguished guests, members of parliament, Ambassador Bill White, Ambassador Rabbi Yehuda Kaplun, ambassadors of the State of Israel, ambassadors of Europe, Dr. Joel Mergui, Chief Rabbi Benjamin Jacobs, Jewish leaders, ladies and gentlemen. There is a story told about a poor Jew named Yosef, who needed to marry off his daughter, but did not have the means to do so. His wife urged him to find a solution. She told him to travel to the capital city, to knock on the doors of generous Jews and ask for their help. So Yosef listened to his wife and set out on his journey. After a long trip, he arrived in the capital, got down from the wagon and felt just how much the road had taken out of him. His back was bothering him badly, and he looked for a place where he could scratch it and get some relief. Suddenly, he noticed a beautiful park. He walked in, took off his jacket, and began rubbing his back against one of the trees. But unfortunately for him, it was the wrong park. It was the king's park. And at that very moment, the king was standing by his window looking outside, and he was astonished to see a Jew in his garden scratching his back against a tree. Within seconds, two security guards arrived, seized Joseph, and brought him before the king. The king asked him angrily, "Why you are scratching yourself on a tree in my garden?" Joseph, trembling with fear, replied, "Your Majesty, I sincerely apologize. Had I known this was your park, I would never have entered." The king asked him, "And who does not know that this is the king's park?" And Joseph answered, "I'm not from here." The king became curious and asked Joseph what he was doing in the city. Joseph told him his story, that he was a poor Jew and his daughter needed to be married and he had no money for the wedding, and that his wife had sent him to the capital to seek help. The king was moved with compassion and asked Joseph, "How much do you need to marry off your daughter?" Joseph replied, 10,000 zloty. Within minutes, two guards returned carrying a suitcase containing 10,000 zlotys and handed it over to Joseph. Joseph was overwhelmed with emotion, thanked the king, and returned home. Before long, as you know, money talks, and his daughter became engaged and was married. During the wedding feast, the two other beggars in the town began talking between themselves how had Joseph managed in such a short time to get the money to marry off his daughter. Two of them approached him and asked him directly, "Friends of friends, Joseph, tell us, where did you take the money from?" And Joseph did not hide anything. He told them the whole story, exactly as it has happened. The two men looked at each other and they liked very much the idea. The next morning, the two of them were already sitting on a wagon on their way to the capital. The trip passed pleasantly, and they were full of anticipation, hoping to return home with easy money as well. When they arrived in the capital, they found out where the king's palace was, entered the garden, took off their jackets, and each one went on a different tree and began scratching himself against it. Once again, the king saw them from his window, and once again, he was furious. And within seconds again, guards arrived and brought them before him. The king asked them angrily, "Why are you scratching yourself in my garden?" The two men looked at him and said, "Your Majesty, had we only known that this was your garden, we would never have scratched ourselves here." The king asked them, "Well, who does not know that this is the king's garden?" And they immediately replied, "Your Majesty, we are not from here." "So what are you doing here?" the king asked. And they said, "Each one of us, we have a daughter who needs to be married, and we have no money. And our wives sent us to the capital to ask for help. We've only just arrived, and had we known this was your garden, we would never have entered." The king asked them, "And how much money do you need to marry off your daughters?" And they answered, "We need each 50,000 zlotys. They're big families, a lot of expenses." Within seconds, the guards arrived tied the two men up, and the king ordered that they be hanged from the very trees they have been scratching themselves against. The two men looked at the king and asked, "But your majesty, what is the difference between us and Joseph, who was just a few weeks ago and left with 10,000 soldiers?" And the king replied, says, "Joseph, he was here alone, he did not have a choice. But you are two, you could have scratched each other's back." Ladies and gentlemen, Jewish communities in Europe cannot stand by and do nothing. We cannot act on our own. We cannot wait for someone else to do the work for us. We must stand by one another, act together, and take responsibility for our future together. This is true in the fight against anti-Semitism. This is true in the effort to keep our community safe, and this is also true in the effort to gain recognition as protected minority at both the national and EU level. Together, and with the help of very many friends in this room, elected officials, ambassadors, diplomats, and community leaders, we can help build a safer and stronger future for Jewish life in Europe. This will not be easy. It will require hard work. It will require patience. But above all, it will require unity. So let us not leave this room with fear. Let us leave it with purpose. Let us live with greater determination, stronger partnership, and deeper faith in our ability to act together. The Jewish story had never been a story of surrender. It has always been a story of strength, responsibility, and hope. The future, ladies and gentlemen, of Jewish people in Europe will not and cannot be decided by others. It must and it will be shaped by all of us. And if we act together with courage, with conviction, and with faith, we will not only meet the challenges before us, we will build a safer, stronger, and better future for the generations to come. I am confident, with God's help, and through our shared efforts, we can do this. On behalf of all of us at the European Jewish Association, I would like to thank each one of you for your support, for your friendship, and for your commitment to the Jewish future in Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for these important words. Unity and resilience. Rabbi Kaplun also spoke of unity earlier today, and may God grant us strength to be unified in our mission. Ladies and gentlemen, despite alarming and often unchecked levels of hatred, bigotry, and discrimination, and although it has become trendy and popular to hate the Jewish people, we do not stand alone. Our dear Christian friends and partners in the Netherlands had their Israel Center assaulted by protesters, graffitied and damaged, and over the Christian holy festival of Easter, also firebombed. They had been resolute and steadfast in their support for the Jewish people and for Israel. Bravely, unapologetically, they have stood their moral ground. And for that, we would like to say thank you and to invite Rabbi Jacobs, the Chief Rabbi of the Netherlands, and his Rebbetzin Gluma, as well as Joël Mergui, Honorary President of the Consistoire de Paris, Ellen van Praag, the Vice Chair of the EJA's Jewish Leaders Council, and Rabbi Menachem Margolin to join us on stage and invite Frank van Oort, Chairman of the Christians for Israel, to accept our Mensch Certificate of Appreciation. Please, all of you, if you could come and join us on stage to give that award, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Mensch. This certificate is proudly presented to Christians of Israel for their unwavering courage and moral clarity in standing with the Jewish people and the state of Israel, even in the face of intimidation, hostility, and violence. Christians of Israel embody the true meaning of a mensch. At a time when support too often comes at a cost, they have chosen principle over pressure, conviction over convenience, and solidarity over silence. In honoring them, we recognize not only their steadfast friendship, but also the enduring values of decency, integrity, and shared responsibility that binds us together. Awarded on the 15th of April, 2026, signed by Rabbi Menachem Agoren, EJ Chairman, European Jewish Association, the Jewish Voice of Europe.
For me and for David, who is with me, we are from Christians for Israel. When my father started Christians for Israel in 1980, he didn't know, in fact, he knew some Israelis because he was a businessman. He didn't know any Jew in the Netherlands. And when the work started, we, of course, it became known because what we want is to convert the church. We are missionaries, but we are not missionaries to the Jews, but we are missionaries to the Christians. Our message is that God is faithful and that the promises of Tanakh are still the promises to the people of Israel. And what the church has done, and we are the church, so I'm talking about myself and the church, we have very often taken the promises and the blessings to ourselves. The curses were for the Jews. And I'm a bit shaking standing here because I realize it's an honor, it's a really high honor to be here, but it's not my place, because you should have the place. And that's what's our message, that we know that God is fulfilling his promises. And for us, the text of Isaiah 62, which my father printed me in my head already when I was young, that for Zion's sake I will not keep silent, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not stop until the time of the redemption is coming. And I'm now quoting, and that's what we are waiting for. And that's why we stand with Israel, because we know that it's God's plan that He chose you. It's God's plan that He fulfills His promises. And we can only be jealous to live in this time, to see it fulfilled. And we wait for the time of the Messiah. And we will not give up, because we will not give up until Isaiah 62 will be fulfilled. Thank you very much.
מה יש עכשיו? דוברת.
What beautiful and moving words. Thank you so much.
אתה יכול להקדים
Not just in words, but really from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you do. I'm now honored to invite a long-standing and trusted friend of the European Jewish Association, but also someone whose dedication and commitment to the Jewish communities in Europe in general and in Belgium in particular have been both consistent and inspiring. In recognition of his work, he was recently appointed as an ambassador for the European Jewish Association. My dear colleague, Ralph Pais, please join us in order to introduce the recipient of the King David Award for 2026.
Excellencies, ministers, rabbis, distinguished leaders, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. I am going to speak tonight from my heart, because that is exactly what Ambassador Bill White also does. And speaking of that, when you are given the honor of presenting an award to the Ambassador of the United States, you suddenly start receiving quite a number of emails with suggestions and instructions. Very kind emails, thoughtful emails, gently suggesting that perhaps I should be careful not to offend anyone. Because this is a very, very diverse audience, they said. Non-Jewish, Jewish, secular, religious. The press is here. Just don't say anything that might offend anyone. And they repeated that so many times that I got a little bit offended myself. And at one point I replied, I wouldn't worry too much. The ambassador knows me and my style quite well. And they replied, we are fully aware of that, and that is precisely why we are concerned. And the last email said, Ralph, one last thing. Please stay away from the following subjects. No politics, no religion, and please, nothing controversial. So goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Well, in all seriousness, on March 9th, I woke up with a familiar feeling that something was wrong. Just days after the horrific attacks against a synagogue in Rotterdam and a Jewish school in Amsterdam, we all felt it. There had been an explosion, a cowardly, horrific terror attack targeting a synagogue in Liège. And immediately that morning, my phone rang. It was Ambassador White. He didn't ask many questions. He didn't hesitate. He said, Ralph, I want to go there now, together with you. I want to show my full solidarity, and I want to make a statement. I stand with the Jewish community. The United States of America will not tolerate Jew hatred. Nowhere. So come on, let's go. And an hour and a half later, I must admit that the ride with Ambassador White went slightly faster than if I would have driven myself. we were standing together in front of that beautiful synagogue, and the street was tense, and the atmosphere was heavy, the kind of silence that actually says everything. And at that moment, I looked at him, and he was not just acting as an ambassador, he was acting as a friend. A true friend who shows up when it matters most, when far too many others chose to remain absent. Ambassador White showed up, a mensch. And this example illustrates what tonight is about. Recognizing those who truly stand with you when it truly matters. And tonight we present the King David Award. And you know, King David was not remembered because his path was easy. He's remembered because when it mattered, he stood firm with courage, responsibility, and an unwavering commitment to his people. And that is the spirit of this award. And that is why Ambassador Bill White stands before us tonight. At a time when anti-Semitism is once again visible, audible, and too often tolerated, he speaks up when others hesitate, and he acts when others calculate. And he stood up, and I must say, he never quite sat down again. For our community, for our dignity, for our most fundamental rights, including bris milah, a subject that many prefer to avoid precisely because it requires intellectual honesty and moral clarity. And we are very, very grateful for that. I once asked him, all those criticism and pressure, doesn't that weigh on you? And he looked at me almost surprised and said, Ralph, I came here with a mission. We are not here to play games. That were your words. And this fight, the mission that President Trump entrusted me with, matters more than criticism from whoever it comes. So no hesitation, just clarity and conviction. So words matter and actions matter. And let me also say this to all of you here present. I think we are blessed with the people in this room, because at times like these, we need outspoken advocates, leaders such as yourselves. Because if we are completely honest, these are moments when sometimes we feel that we stand rather alone. And that is precisely why this leadership matters. One last thing, we also remember with deep gratitude that when the world once lost its moral compass, it was the Americans who stood up, who acted and helped restore not only freedom, but dignity. And my own grandfather, Eli Pais, of blessed memory, was liberated from Auschwitz by Americans, so he is part of that story. And we will never forget. Others may forget this, but we do not. And this legacy still carries meaning today. And all that Ambassador White does, there is nothing in it for him other than the feeling that he's simply doing the right thing. And also word for Brian, Mr. Brian Ure, if you can maybe just stand up for people who do not know you. Brian is the husband of Ambassador White. And Brian, your support, strength, and presence at his side, we see it and we salute it, because leadership like that is never carried alone. So thank you. Ambassador White, you once told me that you are deeply connected to the Jewish people and deeply care about them. Let me assure you tonight, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody here, that that feeling, dear Ambassador, is profoundly mutual. May the Almighty give you the strength to continue your important mission. And on behalf of the European Jewish Association and the leaders of over 100 Jewish communities across Europe present here tonight, it is going to be our privilege and honor to invite you to receive the King David Award. But before that, I would like to ask Ambassador Rabbi Kaplun to come on stage, who is also going to say a few words before the award. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone.
תחזיר.
Approximately 26 hours ago, I stood speaking to an audience of 7,000 people at Auschwitz. And we saw the damage done when hate is given free rein. I may be the only person in the room that has a title of ambassador and special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, but everybody in this room has that same responsibility to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. But behind me in Washington are thousands of people that have been given a mandate from the President of the United States that anti-Semitism will not be tolerated anywhere, anytime, and any place. Every embassy, every bureau, and every officer is engaged in this fight, ensuring that the top of the agenda in every embassy, and this is a priority in all our bilateral relations, is how we are combating anti-Semitism. But I will tell you that no one has been on the front lines as an ambassador combating anti-Semitism than His Excellency, the Honorable Bill White. And if you'll indulge me a minute or two, I am going to share with you about a dear friend and colleague, Bill White. In a world where complacency is often the easiest choice, and many of you are in the diplomatic world will know that sometimes it's easier to just do nothing. Bill's courage, his tenacity, and his strength have made him the righteous among nations, the righteous Gentiles, the people who protected and saved the Jewish life during the Holocaust and after the Holocaust. When Bill arrived in London, and then he managed to make his way to Belgium as the ambassador, he was troubled to find a local community that was facing rampant anti-Semitism. It didn't matter that he didn't grow up Jewish, and he would learn about his Jewish heritage later on in his life. But what mattered to Bill was that he saw a community in need, a community under siege, and a community threatened. As mentioned before, when the synagogue was attacked, from Washington, we didn't have to call Ambassador Bill White and say, would you please go and see what's going on? Our office, my office, received a report from Bill immediately. This is what happened, I'm on my way. And a few weeks ago, I was honored to join Bill for some meetings. And it resulted, and I would like to thank the Belgian government and the defense ministry for placing military to assist in protecting the Jewish community. But Bill approaches meetings in a very specific way. At the end of the day, when we're walking out of a room, what has been done, what has been accomplished, and we don't need lots of meetings to figure out where we stand. There are a lot of people that say, oh, the American government shouldn't get involved in issues. If it affects religious liberty, the protection of the Jewish community, the protection of any community that's under siege because of their religion, the President of the United States and the Secretary of State have made it clear to every ambassador, get involved. Bill didn't want photo ops. Bill doesn't need a photo op. He wants results. So I, on behalf of the Secretary of the State Department, Marco Rubio, when he heard that Bill was being honored, and the president then heard that Bill was being honored, made it their business to make certain that I should represent the entire State Department and the government of the United States, the President of the United States, the Secretary, all the employees of the State Department, to recognize that we stand behind our ambassador as he takes on battles that nobody would like to take on, because it's right. I would also like to thank the leadership of the EJA and Rabbi Margolin. I know Rabbi Margolin a very, very long time. But in Europe, as you require leadership, it is the same courage and dedication that he has in standing up in the face of tremendous adversity and doing what is right. But on behalf of everybody at the State Department, we want to let you know that we continue to work with you. We'll always continue to work with you to do what is right. And lastly, to all of you in this room, you are all ambassadors to combat anti-Semitism. You are all ambassadors for humanity, and humanity requires people to lead. And you have the very best of America with Bill and Brian as leaders to combat hate across Belgium. Thank you.
So, Rav, please come back. We would like to call Rabbi Menachem Margolin to please come back, and Baroness Regine Sokolowski-Slusny, Senior Board Member of the EJA's Jewish Leaders Council, to please join us, and Monsieur Joël Mergui, the Honorary President of the Consistoire de Paris, all of you to come and to please award Your Excellency. Yes, please join us. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please come forward a little bit further up, yes, on the stage, so that we can all see you. Let's all rise and give a round of applause to the ambassador.
Wow, thank you very much. So nice. Leave it to Rabbi Kaplun to make me want to cry before I'm coming up here to speak to you. It's really an incredible honor to have the President of the United States' personal representative to the world. He really is ambassador to the world to combat anti-Semitism. He really is a mega mensch. I'm the guy from Long Island, so I can say this. But Yehuda, my favorite ambassador, forgive me, Edith, I will mention you in a minute, but it is such an honor for Brian and I to see that you are here tonight. You honor us with your presence. We cannot thank you enough. He is doing such a great job. He deserves a round of applause for everything that you are doing in the most difficult situations, and there couldn't be anyone better to be standing in a place like Auschwitz than you. So I'm very glad that you're here. I want to thank Ralph. There's a bunch of mentions I will mention. I'm not taking away from my honoree. I want to speak to you. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy to be on this roster this evening with such great people as yourself. Ralph is an amazing patriot in Belgium. He's a faithful member of this community. He and his family are beautiful. They are giving much of themselves. You know, he's supposed to be working and running a business, and he's doing all this, which, you know, is out of the goodness of his heart. And it tells you what kind of a man that he is. I'm very proud of you. I'm happy to call you my friend, and we will continue to do very important things together here in Belgium. So thank you. Rabbi Margolin, you're working out too. I said to him, I said, I have to keep up with you. You're a powerhouse. We have to go to the gym together. And you really are a powerhouse. That's not a slick comment. You are working so hard, advancing the cause of the Jewish people in Europe. We are very proud of you. You are doing fantastic. All of you who are part of this great organization, you give of yourselves, you give of your financial resources to support this great organization. You keep it up. Anything you need, you have my cell phone number. I give all of you my cell phone number. If you need me, you call me. I will be there. We will always be there for you. So I would like to say I do have some friends. I will just mention them quickly. I say Regine, she's a baroness, but she's the best, and she's fighting for all of you. Avi Mayer, who is here. Philippe from the Conservatoire in Brussels. Isidore Morsel, who's my dinner mate. He's an amazing, truly an amazing businessman, but more than that, he's a great husband, he's a great father. He is a leader here in Antwerp for the Diamond District of the world. As soon as the Supreme Court case was overturned, I knew I was going to get a WhatsApp message from Isidore. Do you know why? Get the tariffs lifted on the diamonds. Yeah. And we are working on this right now. We will do that so that you can give more money to the EJ. Ari Epstein and Laurent Trell, everything okay in Antwerp? Yeah, okay, you keep up the good work. We are working together on so many things, and I wanted to thank you for being here tonight and for supporting the work that we do together. I just want to say that frequency, speaking about our fellow ambassadors, I am not up here alone. There is an incredible diplomatic corps here in Belgium. You know, there's nothing going on in Brussels these days. It's a joke. It's the center of everything outside of Washington. You know, we have our ambassadors to the EU. We have our ambassadors to Belgium. We have our ambassadors to NATO. And I wanted to specifically recognize, Avinir Feldklein, who's our Israeli ambassador to the EU. Edith Rosary Abu, who's leaving soon. What's happening? She's leaving. She's done a great job. She's representing Israel here to Belgium. And Tamar Kovac, who's, you want to come up and talk about the elections in Hungary? No, this would be good. No, okay. But he's doing a fantastic job, and we're very grateful. And there's thank you. Yeah, give a round of applause for Tamar. There is a rabbi here, Avi from London. Where is he? Oh, sorry, Rabbi. I don't want to get in trouble. You have to mention all the rabbis. But he was just telling me, you know, hello, over there. Shh. Yeah. There was a bombing. Everybody is okay? Yeah, so this is still going on in London. This was a catastrophic incident, thank God. Nobody was killed or hurt, but we're praying for you and your congregation, and we send everybody our love and best wishes to be safe. Yeah. Yes, please. So it's the privilege of a lifetime for my husband, Brian. He's the better half, by the way, if you haven't noticed. He's much more fun. You see how they agree with this? Yes. And it's the honor of a lifetime to represent President Trump as ambassador, rabbi. Which title do you like better? Rabbi, come on. But this administration has made it a priority to combat anti-Semitism as a national security priority. It's a priority to the top of the list. And that's why you see me doing maybe some not so diplomatic things here in Belgium. I promise you that will continue. I will continue to do undiplomatic things in Belgium. I am a businessman by nature. I raised several $1 billion for our nation's military. I love our military, our cooperation. Yes. And President Trump called me about a week and a half after the you know what that is? The incident about circumcision. By the way, I was a paramedic in New York, and my joke now is I'm offering 2-for-1 circumcisions at the U.S. Embassy on Fridays if anybody needs one. I'm happy to help you out. You have to have a little bit of a sense of humor with this. But the fact that those 2 moils potentially would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law in Belgium, to me, to all of you, to the President of the United States, is truly unnerving, alarming, unfathomable, and unacceptable. And this is what we will continue to fight. We are told that the case will die away. We pray this is true. And I hope that our effort, that we work together to achieve, will bring a result that will allow circumcision to be a normal thing here without retribution, and so that the great Jewish people of Belgium can live in peace with religious freedom. And we will never stop until that is achieved. I promise you that. From my very first meetings with members of Belgium's Jewish community, there's some 40,000, but the number is dwindling. I'm very worried about that. It's quite a diverse group from all sides, but you are always united in heritage and your faith. But I heard something troubling. We don't feel safe anymore. I won't mention the name, but somebody who I love, who's in the room, was walking with his kippah, just walking around in Antwerp, and they spit on him, right in his face. We don't feel safe anymore. Families who have lived here for generations are now questioning their future. We were at a Shabbat dinner with Rabbi Shmuel Pinson, who's awesome. His wife is even more awesome. I think she's smarter than he is about the Torah. I don't know. She's incredible. And she said that their children and their grandchildren are already moving away from Belgium. And I said, why? They're going somewhere great? And they said, no. This is not a place they want to build their family. And this really was heartbreaking to hear this. So I promise you, for as long as we are here, we are going to try to work together to change this thinking, to work with the government in a positive, supportive, thoughtful way to change this. This is unacceptable. No one should feel that they don't belong in their own country. The reality is stark. The attacks are real. The explosion at the synagogue in Liège, and there's a sweet rabbi there who we talked to. The arson attacks in Antwerp, in the Jewish Quarter, the desecration of the graves, and daily acts of intimidation, the violent remarks casually dismissed as artistic license. This is not theoretical, it's happening now, and it demands action now. So let me be clear, the United States of America, as Rabbi Kaplun said, we stand with you steadfastly. We stand with you unequivocally, without a doubt, without any hesitation, not one bit of hesitation, ever. And we will continue to speak out and take action. As an American, I was raised with the conviction that religious freedoms is a fundamental right. Supporting the ability of Jews to practice their traditions openly is nothing to do with politics. It reflects our core values. That includes the right to practice religious circumcision in accordance with thousands of years of tradition. This is not a matter of politics, but it is a matter of principle and a right that must be protected. And when individuals feel unsafe practicing their faith openly, we have an obligation to speak clearly and to act. I have been encouraged by concrete steps the Belgian governmental leadership has taken. I want to thank them for that. The rabbi and our ambassador has said that, and others have said that, including the deployment of military personnel to safeguard Jewish sites and communities. I want to thank, you have a great prime minister. I like him a lot, Bart de Wever. He cares about the Jewish community, especially when he was mayor of Antwerp. I think some good people here just met with him about all this. Theo Franken, Bernard Canton, great guys. They are with you. Even the mayor of Liège, who's a little lefty over there, I really like him a lot. His name is the mayor. He's the mayor. And he and I have been talking actually every couple of days. I really like him, and we are going to continue to work with him. Michael Freilich, who's here, who I just met tonight, so in case anybody in the media is listening, they said that we were in cahoots, like secret operations on the thing, and this is completely untrue. It was great to meet you finally. I met your mother. She's even more terrific than you are, and you are in a great, great family. So, yes. So simply to conclude, I accept this honor as a personal recognition, but really it's not about me at all. And maybe you're learning that this is a chance for us to continue to speak out positively in support of the beautiful, the special, the amazing Jewish families of the Kingdom of Belgium. You are all precious. You are wonderful. You keep doing what you're doing. We are here. We love you. We will support you. You have a friend in President Trump, in Marco Rubio, in J.D. Vance, in Yehuda Kaplan, Bill White, in all of us. We are here for you always. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall be having the main course and continuing afterwards, so enjoy your meal.
Ja.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would love to continue the evening. So we ask you to please find your seats. And we shall be continuing shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, please do take your seats. Thank you so much.
Rivolgo un cordiale saluto alla European Jewish Association, al presidente rabbino Margolin e a tutte le autorità presenti a Bruxelles. Voglio esprimere la mia vicinanza alle comunità ebraiche europee, nuovamente bersaglio di vivi campagne d'odio dopo i barbari attacchi del 7 ottobre e l'escalation del Medioevo. Questa vergognosa deriva alimenta in Europa e in Italia un clima di ostilità verso le comunità ebraiche esposte ad un ritorno di pregiudizi e rancori che evocano le pagine più oscure della nostra storia. Il governo italiano ha risposto da tempo con determinazione, adottando una strategia nazionale contro l'antisemitismo che pone a centro l'educazione, la prevenzione, la sicurezza ed il contrasto alla disinformazione. Lavoriamo da sempre con le comunità ebraiche italiane per proteggere luoghi di culto, istituzioni scolastiche e culturali, rafforzando la consapevolezza storica delle nuove generazioni. Abbiamo ribadito in ogni sede internazionale la necessità di distinguere tra la legittima critica politica e ogni altra forma subdola di antisemitismo. A questo si accompagna un'intensa attività di prevenzione intelligence che ci ha consentito di intervenire tempestivamente ogni qualvolta si siano manifestate situazioni di rischio. Ne è prova tra l'altro l'operazione di dicembre scorso che ha portato all'arresto di più persone accusate di aver finanziato e sostenuto Hamas. Abbiamo inoltre rafforzato la tutela degli obiettivi sensibili collegati ad Israele e alle comunità ebraiche, monitorando ogni possibile minaccia. Il mio messaggio è forte e chiaro: non lasceremo spazio ad un ritorno dell'odio nel nostro paese e difenderemo insieme a voi la memoria e la verità, perché questo significa salvaguardare i valori di democrazia, libertà e dignità che ci accomunano. E nel ringraziarvi per l'invito vi auguro il migliore successo per queste importanti iniziative.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we have recently celebrated the feast of Purim. Thousands of years ago, the evil Haman of Persia conspired to convince the Persian king to eliminate the entire Jewish population of the Persian Empire. Queen Esther had the courage not to look away. She chose to rise to the occasion and leverage her position for the benefit of her people. With God's help and guidance, she succeeded to deliver the Jews of Persia out of danger and onto safety and prosperity. As such, she was and remains a huge inspiration for us throughout the centuries. In that framework, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to mention to all of you a specific board member of the EJA who had dedicated so much of her life to the well-being of the Jewish people. Tonight, we at the EJA would like to honor your deep commitment to European Jewry over many years and to say thank you. It is my pleasure to invite Menachem Margolin, Secretary General David Lega, to the stage and our recipient of a first ever EJA Queen Esther Award, Estrella Bengio, the President of the Jewish Community of Madrid. Please, my dear, come. The European Jewish Association Queen Esther Award for 2026 presented to Mrs. Estrella Bengio, President of the Jewish Community of Madrid, in recognition of and with deep appreciation of your years of dedication and expertise as President. Kol hakavod, heartfelt from the bottom of our hearts.
This is, I am completely, with the emotions. I feel very well. I have no words. You bless me without any words in this moment. Just have to say thank you. I have greatest gratitude. I am doing just few things in comparison to all the people in this room and the people here in the stage. But I have to say that I appreciate very much this recognition that I will take very, very closely to my heart, and will always remember this very special moment with all of you. Thank you very much, Rolly, David Segal, and all the EGA team and all the colleagues in EGA. Tonight, we were saying it is good to be all together. There are many things to talk, but also it's very nice to see each other and to share what we are feeling. This is the Am Echad Lev Echad, being all together. Thank you.
Am Echad Lev Echad, beautiful words. And with that in mind, I have the honor of calling on the honorary president of the Consistoire de Paris, the head of our Council of Jewish Leaders in the EJA, Joël Mergui. Please, sir.
Chers amis, je vais ce soir m'exprimer en français, comme à chaque fois que je m'exprime.
So, dear friends, I'm going to express myself in French, as I always do.
Un jour, tous les responsables communautaires et tous les amis d'Israël parleront tous en hébreu, je m'exprimerai en hébreu.
So, one day, all of the representatives of Jewish communities across Europe will speak in Hebrew, so then I have to speak in French. And sorry? And the friends of Israel will all speak Hebrew, so I won't have to speak in French.
Ce soir, c'est une réunion extraordinaire. Et je voudrais remercier le Rav Menachem Margolin et toute notre équipe de l'AGA pour tout le travail exceptionnel qui est fait tout au long de l'année.
So it's an extraordinary evening this evening. I'd particularly like to thank Rabbi Menachem Margolin and all of the team at the EGA for all the work that they do.
Nous vivons un des moments les plus douloureux de notre histoire. Je reviens d'Israël.
We are living in one of our most painful chapters in our history. I just came back from Israel.
J'ai passé 3 semaines à vivre à l'heure israélienne et à voir ce que c'est qu'être avec des bébés dans des abris.
So I've just spent many hours living on Israel time and knowing what it's like every few minutes to go and seek shelter.
Je voudrais ici, en notre nom à tous, remercier les ambassadeurs d'Israël qui sont là et l'État d'Israël pour le travail exceptionnel qui est fait pour Israël, pour les Juifs et pour le monde.
So I'd really like to take the opportunity to thank the representatives from Israel here, both ambassadors, for all of the work that they do for the Israeli people and for Israel around the world.
C'était Yom HaShoah hier. Si Israël avait existé à ce moment-là, la Shoah n'aurait pas existé.
So it was Yom HaShoah yesterday, and if Israel had have existed in those days, there wouldn't have been a Shoah.
Et Israël est en train d'éviter au monde entier une nouvelle Shoah par le nazi-islamisme, par l'islamisme radical.
And Israel is trying to avoid another Shoah perpetrated by radical Islam.
Et c'est bien que ce soir, on ait honoré l'ambassadeur des États-Unis et les États-Unis qui viennent, comme les alliés il y a 80 ans, aider le monde et libérer le monde d'un nouveau terrorisme.
And it's fantastic that we have the American ambassador here this evening as a reminder, as they did in the past when they came and liberated us 80 years ago. They're helping us again today.
Et moi, citoyen européen, je regrette que l'Europe n'aide pas les États-Unis et Israël à la mesure qu'il faudrait dans ce combat fondamental contre l'islamisme qui s'attaque aux Juifs, au monde et particulièrement à l'Europe.
So, and it particularly hurts me that I see Europe unable and unwilling to help the Americans and Israel as they defend the world against fundamental Islam, which seeks to attack not only Jews but the world and our values.
Et dans ce moment de notre histoire, la présence à nos côtés des non-juifs, des parlementaires, des ambassadeurs, des amis d'Israël, de ceux qui ont le courage de se lever, pas simplement pour dire on pleure la Shoah.
So, especially at this time, surrounded by a lot of non-Jews, our friends, our parliamentarians, the diplomats who are with us tonight, not only to say we feel bad about the Shoah.
Parce que c'est facile et c'est normal pour tout le monde de pleurer la Shoah.
Because it's easy and it's normal for everyone to cry the Shoah.
Mais nos véritables amis, c'est quand ils célèbrent Israël et l'existence de Juifs vivants et debout.
So our real friends are those that celebrate living Jews and defend living Jews today.
Quand dans les différents pays d'Europe, on continue à nous aider à faire la Shrita et la Brit Mila et à avoir des synagogues et à protéger nos synagogues. Alors oui, ce sont nos amis.
So our real friends are those that help us live our Jewish life, that help us with Brit Mila, that help us enable us to do Shrita, that help us live our Jewish lives. These are our real friends.
Mais ce n'est pas suffisant. Notre identité, c'est la mémoire de la Shoah, c'est la synagogue et c'est Israël. Et on ne peut pas couper notre identité, enlever une partie de notre identité.
So, but it's got to be more than this. Our identity is not only our past, not only the Shoah, but it's also Israel, and he cannot and will not cut us away from that.
Alors vous, non-juifs, descendants des justes, ceux qui ont aidé les juifs il y a 80 ans à continuer à vivre, vous, non-juifs, qui soutenez l'État d'Israël et qui soutenez la communauté juive, vous êtes dans le sens de l'histoire.
So, you, the non-Jews, you whose families were righteous amongst the nations, just and helped us in the past, that you're standing beside us today and continuing that tradition, you guys are on the right side of history.
Et ceux qui continuent à déposer des fleurs sur nos morts et à condamner régulièrement Israël, ils sont contre l'histoire et ils auront tort dans la vie et dans l'histoire.
So, and those who lay flowers at the memorials for dead Jews, but who criticize Israel, and they will have a shame and they'll go down in history as a shame.
Je voudrais finir en m'adressant à mes amis, les leaders des communautés juives d'Europe.
I'd like to finish by addressing my dear friends, the Jewish leaders of Europe.
Gardez la fierté de porter votre kippa sur la tête. Gardez cette fierté de porter un tzitzit. Gardez la fierté de soutenir Israël. Gardez la fierté de faire vivre le judaïsme. Nous sommes dans le sens de l'histoire. Personne ne nous empêchera de continuer à faire vivre les valeurs juives pour le judaïsme, pour Israël et pour les démocraties du monde.
Wear your kippah with pride. Wear your tzitzit with pride. Carry on being Jews with pride. Nobody is going to stop us being who we are.
Et parce que le monde va mal, alors nous allons bien. Parce que le monde va mal, sachez que nous allons bien. Parce qu'on n'a jamais été aussi solidaires les uns des autres. Parce qu'on n'a jamais eu aussi envie de construire des projets. Parce qu'on n'a jamais eu autant envie de soutenir Israël. Parce qu'on n'a jamais eu autant envie de remplir nos synagogues. Nous allons bien.
So despite everything that's going on in the world, despite all the horribleness, we're doing good. And despite everything that is going on, we are more united than ever. We are filling up our synagogues and we are doing good.
Alors je le dis aux leaders juifs des communautés juives d'Europe. Oui, la tentation d'Israël existe. Et ceux qui veulent aller vivre en Israël, c'est notre responsabilité de les accompagner.
So I say to our Jewish leaders, of course, it's tempting to go to Israel. And to all those that do, it's our duty to ensure that they can go there.
Et si les gouvernements critiquent cela, c'est leur problème de donner envie aux Juifs de rester en Europe.
And if governments are critical of that, it's their own fault that they haven't created or enabled a situation where Jews should want to stay.
Mais il n'est pas question de quitter l'Europe par peur. On quitte l'Europe si on a envie de se retrouver vivre en Israël par amour d'Israël.
So we absolutely should not leave Europe because of fear. We should only move to Israel for the love of Israel and because we want to live there.
Je le répète chaque année, j'ai construit il y a 10 ans le plus grand centre européen du judaïsme à Paris parce que je crois à l'avenir des Juifs en Europe.
I say it again. I built the largest center for Jewish life in Paris 10 years ago because I fundamentally believe in the future of Jewish life in Europe.
Alors je finirai en disant par une formule que j'ai répétée depuis le 7 octobre.
So I finish with a formule, with an idea which I've been saying since the 7th of October.
Répétez-le dans vos communautés.
Repeat it in your communities.
La place des Juifs aujourd'hui, elle est soit en Israël, soit dans la synagogue.
The place of Jews today is either in Israel or in the synagogue.
Quand je dis la synagogue, c'est-à-dire dans la communauté juive.
By the synagogue, I mean in the Jewish community.
On ne peut pas être juif en Europe et passer à côté de l'histoire.
You can't be Jewish in Europe and avoid history.
Chaque juif doit aujourd'hui s'impliquer dans l'avenir du judaïsme et dans l'avenir d'Israël, comme il le fait depuis des années dans l'avenir de son pays.
Every Jew should involve themselves in Judaism and should involve themselves in Israel, as their forefathers did and as their ancestors did before them.
Et je le dis parce que je sais ce que chaque juif d'Europe a apporté à l'Europe.
And I say this because I know exactly what each Jew in Europe can bring to Europe.
Alors à nos amis d'Europe, faites en sorte que nos synagogues continuent à rayonner et que nous ayons encore envie de vivre dans ces beaux pays que nous aimons et que nous avons continué à bâtir.
So to our friends in Europe, I say this: keep enabling the situation where Jewish communities can continue to shine brightly and can bring their light to Europe.
La photo qui est là,
The photo that's right behind us,
c'est la synagogue de Neuilly, l'une des plus grandes communautés juives d'Europe. C'est la synagogue de Neuilly, une des synagogues du consistoire de Paris. Je vois cette photo et je me dis, si l'antisémitisme arrive jusque-là, et il est arrivé jusqu'à Neuilly, alors c'est que ça va mal. Mais à côté de cela, la synagogue de Neuilly vit pleinement le judaïsme. Alors personne ne nous empêchera de continuer à faire vivre nos valeurs.
so that picture behind us is from the Jewish community in Neuilly, which is in Paris, one of the largest communities in Europe. But what that picture doesn't tell you is that behind those doors, that community is one of the most vibrant, most living, most dedicated communities in Europe, and will
Si
continue
cette
to be.
synagogue voulait symboliser, cette photo voulait symboliser une synagogue en danger, c'est le cas des synagogues dans notre monde. Elle symbolise aussi en même temps une synagogue en pleine vie. Dans le danger, notre vie continue.
And if that picture is meant to represent a synagogue in danger, you should also be aware that it equally represents a synagogue full of life and a life that will continue.
On a beaucoup de projets à construire ensemble, on va continuer à les construire et on va montrer au monde quelle est la force qui nous anime. Merci.
We have many projects to do together, and we're going to continue showing the world all the things that we can do together. Merci, Monsieur Naki.
שני, זהו, נכון? יש עוד נאומים?
Thank you everyone for a beautiful, lovely, tasty evening. We have not just finished, you still have desserts, but I do want to let you know that tomorrow at 7 a.m. there will be shacharit for those who want, and breakfast will be served from 7:30 to 8:30. At 8:45, we look forward to continuing our very important discussions with you. Please be on time. Thank you so much. Oh, and I forgot to let you all know that we encourage you, which means you have to, check out, please, between 7:30 and 8:30.